What's up, everybody? This is Will and Willpower Astrology, and it's my favorite time of year. It's the number one bringing me out of a posting slump phenomenon. It is Mercury Retrograde coming up on Friday, okay? Let me look at this. I had it all written down, but so Mercury Retrograde happening in Aquarius, backing up into Capricorn. So really quick, for those that don't know, retrograde is a phase where the Earth gets inside of another planet's orbit. So for the closer planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars, it happens a little more frequently. Because Mercury has a very rapid and tight orbit, we get inside of that orbit 3 or 4 times a year. This year it's going to be 4 times. So this is the first one. I'm just making sure I have this all. Blue. Yep, on retrograde. I'm looking at my ephemeris to look this up. Retrograde on the 14th at 4:41 a.m. So January 14th, I think that's this Friday, 4:41 a.m. We're going to start Mercury retrograde at 10 degrees of Aquarius. So then it's going to back up. It's going to back over 0 degrees into 29 degrees of Capricorn, back up until 24 degrees of Capricorn, and then go direct, and then go back over 0 degrees of Aquarius. All right, so what does that all mean? I spent a minute and a half babbling. Let's talk about this. So Mercury retrograde is a time, because Mercury is the planet of communication, it's said to be a time where communication kind of goes haywire in all of its different forms. Interpersonal communication can be your thoughts, it could be the way that you talk, it could be the way that you listen, it could be your texts, it could be your emails, it could be your car breaking down, it could be your, technology breaking down. Anything that has to do with communication tends to dissipate. So what that means, I bit my page. So what that means in the sign of Aquarius and Capricorn, my friend just texted me, I was like, what I'm condensing this down to as one little kind of quippy term is knowing the difference between your friends and your coworkers, basically, because we're gonna go from, when Mercury's in Aquarius, it's our mind is on our hopes and dreams, it's on our friends and networks, it's on kind of our expansive social life. We're going out into the world and we're making connections, and we're bringing ourselves and sitting at the table. So when it backs up, it's this thing about, do I want to sit at this table? And also, what am I bringing to the table, right? It's this thing about, are these the dreams that I thought I was doing? Am I really aligned towards what I was hoping and dreaming about? Am I really aligned with the people that are around me? Am I aligned? It's this whole time of mental reevaluation. So going from like a theoretical, a hopes and dreams, a kind of identity thing, into like a practical career arc, life path. Backing up into Capricorn, it's going to be all about like business things and practical moments, and it's not just the hopes and dreams, it's the steps on how to get there. What am I going to do to achieve these hopes and dreams? It's not just the planning, it's like the planning, the scheduling. The Capricorn loves a to-do list, okay? So this Mercury retrograde, I think, also is very significant because it's happening while it's been pointed. I'm going to make another video about I have a hair stuck on my forehead. I'm going to make another video about Pluto and the Great Conjunction, because the Great Conjunction happened in December of 2020 at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So this Mercury retrograde is going over that same point 3 times. We're going to be reevaluating a lot of this stuff that has been sparked and activated since December of 2020 and leading up to December of 2020. So we're going to start getting a taste of all this stuff now. And then, interestingly, next in February, when it's the Pluto return of America, there's going to be this big deterioration or degradation or like washing away of old habits or whatever. And people, basically are talking about the economy is going to crash again. And if you look at all this stuff, so man, let me tell you something. I was going on a TikTok rabbit hole. I was sitting there talking about astrology and this and that and aliens or whatever. I don't know. There's so much stuff. But everybody, like, I get on these videos and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't say that, or I should be a little more vague, or I should be like, oh, I don't know. There are people fully just saying like America's not going to exist anymore by 2025. You know what I mean? And to be honest, the way that the stuff is all happening over the next couple of years in this video I'm going to talk about, it seems very likely. Like, there's an author in Canada that's talking about America's going to be a right-wing dictatorship in a matter of like 8 years. So, you know what to do. Change it, make it not be that. Go get all of your family and get them right together real quick. I don't know what. Mercury retrograde. What am I even talking about? I don't know. I'm going to let this be a little more free form of a video. So, Mercury retrograde passing over the Great Conjunction, also passing over Pluto, passing over the Great Conjunction. So, Pluto, or boop, 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 boop. Mercury retrograde is starting while we are smack dab right now in the middle of Venus retrograde. So I think that Venus retrograde is kind of giving a moment of like, before everything goes like really fast. I think that once Mercury retrograde starts and we start seeing all this stuff happening, and Venus retrograde ends, I think stuff is going to speed up. I think stuff is going to be starting to get a lot more like up in your face and up in your grill. Like, what else? If you're gonna reevaluate what table you're sitting at and what you're like, do you have good relationships with your neighbors? Do you if you couldn't go to the grocery store, could you still get food? Ooh, you know what I mean? There's some stuff. There's the oh shit, another biggie while Mercury is retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde on Friday. And then I think on Tuesday next week, I could look it up even. Oh no, I bent all my pages. I'm bending the shit out of my pages today. It's faded. Yeah. So the North Node is shifting from Gemini, from the age of misinformation, into its next phase of the North Node in Taurus. It goes backward. So money systems, value, it could be something like the minimum wage increases, but we're going to start seeing stuff now like wage shortages, labor shortages, goods and services shortages. All this type of stuff is going to start sparking up in this next couple of weeks, and it's going to be like a smaller portion of the next like 2 or 3 years, like of kind of things being choppy or chunky or rough. And I think that it's important to make sure that you have good relationships with your neighbors, and make sure that yeah, I don't know, very cryptic, very ominous times, but I hope I'm, as always, I hope I'm wrong about some shit. But this Mercury retrograde is going to be intense. So the last time we had this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius was a year ago. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to make the same Mercury retrograde we had a year ago. I'm ready to make year 3 of COVID the best year yet. That's kind of how I'm feeling. It's been the same day for me for the last 2 years. Like, straight up, it's been the same day for me for the last 2 years. I'm starting to lose it. It's very much like, oh yeah, I've been in this moment before. We had the same Mercury retrograde in Aquarius last year. It didn't back up into Capricorn. The last time Mercury retrograde was in Capricorn was in December of 2016 going into 2017. So let that sink in terms of timelines, in terms of impact. One of the biggest things that I think we're going to see over the next couple of weeks as we get into the end of January and February, getting into tax season, is that this Republican tax plan that was put in place a couple years ago, that's increasingly, I don't know what the word would be, penalizing or whatever. Like, people are going to start seeing more and more on their taxes that it's not helping them out. And so that kind of thing, economic struggle, setback, supply chain issues, all that type of gig. We're going to start seeing stuff in the next couple of weeks. It's going to impact through the next couple of years. So I hope I'm wrong. But that's what it seems like. And I haven't necessarily been posting a ton. Because I changed my little room. And look, we got my little Christmas tree going on. It's on a table on a stand. But like, so this will probably be here till March, just for, comfort, soothing type vibes. But, you could get a reading from me at any time. If you want to see what's going on with the Great Conjunction, where that lands in your chart, we could do that as a chart reading. If you want to look up your natal chart, your inherent qualities from your birth that you carry with you through your life and your journeys that you kind of go on, we could do that. This is a great time, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and Aquarius, to figure out the year ahead. So we could sit here and look at your chart and how the planets are moving through your chart in the year to come. Hit me up. Let's do a chart reading. And also, you could hit me at any time. I think it's willpowerastrology on PayPal. I don't know, whatever. But I'm just saying it's out there. You know what I mean? It's Mercury retrograde, tip of hoe. What else? Oh, so we move through Mercury retrograde. The North Node's going to shift. Uranus is going direct. After Uranus goes direct on January 18th, and the North Node turns into Taurus, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, a little over 4 months where there is nothing in retrograde. And this is a big span. So I think all of a sudden it's going to be like, for the last couple of weeks, especially since Venus has been in retrograde since December 19th-ish, 18th, 19th. The last couple of weeks have kind of had this kind of quality. Maybe there's some tension on the edges, but maybe it seems like there's a bubble. We're kind of like, okay, maybe I think that there's like a cautious optimism starting to peep out. But I think as soon as we drop out of Venus retrograde, we drop out of Uranus retrograde, and everything's direct, and then Mercury retrograde ends on February 3rd. So at the beginning of February, basically, everything's just gonna bam, 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 speed up. I feel like there's like a ton of legislation we're currently waiting on that I'm not necessarily stoked to hear about. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I feel like is going to come to a crisis or come to a head before it comes to a resolution. And lots of kind of big structural, energetic changes ahead. We're going from an air sign to an earth sign North Node. So it's going to be all about consequences of our words, consequences of our actions. We're going to have to really, pay for that bill that we skipped out on. Or, you know what I mean? And so, I'm like, I don't want to get on here and say, oh, it's crazy, but it's going to be really crazy. And we might have to think about mutual aid. How are you going to help yourself? How are you going to help your neighbors? Including, are you going to be, radiation canary? So anyway, this is quite a crazy time. And I think that for me, it's like, there's not a getting back to what it was. I think it's recognizing that we are in a new set of given circumstances. All my, acting and theater peeps kind of will hear what I'm talking about there. We're in a new set of givens. So now it's new shit. It's new stuff. So if we're trying to still do old things, it's not the time. It's not going to work out as well as you want. Unless you're completely overhauling, completely redoing, completely remaking, completely and backing it up with them coins, backing it up with what you're worth or whatever. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter, and it's not going to be enough. Like, you have to do it. It's time to do it. Put your money where your mouth is the theme of North Node and Taurus for me, and then theme of Mercury retrograde in Aquarius to Capricorn is knowing your friends from your work spouses or whatever. Anyway, are we having fun yet? Or can we make some good plans? Can we start doing some good things instead of the same old dumbass shit? Let's try it. Let's try new things instead of the same old dumbass shit.